excited soon to come and stand up. Everybody come on your feet. We have to get ready. Gotta get the blood going. Arms up over your head. Start bouncing on the balls of your feet. See if you can get some air. Get some air going. Yeah. I want you to say out loud, repeat after me. I am a champion. I was born a champion. Never lost a fight in my life. Woohoo! All right, good job. Welcome everyone. Larry, got a hot seat for you right up here in the spitting section.
Sounds good.
Come on in. Good to see you, buddy. All right. So, welcome everyone. And we have our infamous weight loss workshop tonight. Raise your hand if you're looking to lose your fastest 15 pounds ever. Anybody here? A couple of you guys? Okay. So you may be here for weight loss, but I'm going to teach you something better than weight loss. And we keep you in suspense here. So the elevation health difference. You're going to learn about the difference tonight. Looking forward to next month. Every month we have these workshops. And next month we have true cellular detox. Tonight, what you're going to find out is that toxins actually cause weight loss resistance. So that's part of what you're going to learn tonight. And I'll spend a little bit of time on it, but we're going to go a lot deeper next month with toxicity. So this is a really important class. If you've never been to it, I would strongly suggest that you make plans. You can mark it down. I put February 10th in there. It's going to be about 4 weeks from tonight. One of the most, I only do that one once a year. So certain workshops, we repeat twice a year, like diabetes, cancer, heart disease. But this workshop and the True Cellular Detox is only once a year. So strongly recommend put it in your calendar so you don't miss it. Okay, so what you're going to learn tonight is a few intricacies which go beyond just weight loss. How many of you guys have ever done a diet before? You've lost weight, and then you gained it back, and then you lost weight, and then you gained it back, right? You know, if we could count how many times, you know, if we had a nickel for every time we went through that, we can tell the stories. But generally speaking, diets don't work. Well, they work initially because you watch the scale go down, right? And then when you gain the weight back, you say to yourself, that didn't work. So diets really don't work. Diets are fads. Diets are, you know, kind of like a get-rich-quick thing. It doesn't correct the cause of the problem, which is why we gain weight and it becomes a lifelong challenge. So, generally speaking, what we do is we count calories, we cut calories, we skip meals, we starve ourselves, and we watch the scale go down in the process. You know what I'm talking about? And then what happens? So, if you don't have a body composition analysis and you don't know, when you lose that weight, you don't know if it's water, you don't know if it's muscle, you don't know if it's fat, you're just happy you're seeing the weight go down. You're saying, wow, I'm losing weight, this is great. Losing weight, feel great, and my clothes fit a little bit better. But what if you're not losing fat? What if you're losing muscle? What if you're losing water? What if you're actually slowing your metabolism down in the process? And these are the intricacies which make this a chronicity instead of having a permanent result. Raise your hand if you want permanent results. Say aye? Yeah. So unless you learn the tricks in terms of how to program your body to burn fat, how to correct the metabolism, reset it, then you always gain all the weight back, and it always is the same problem over and over again. So what you're going to learn tonight is how do we reset the metabolism, how do we correct the metabolism, and how to turn your body into a full-time fat-burning machine. How many of you guys would like your body to burn more fat? Yeah, that's the name of the game. When it comes down to it, you know, I've been doing a new program myself, like the last, I would say, 8 weeks or so. And I'm trying to burn fat, and I am burning fat, and gaining muscle at the same time. So if muscle weighs more than fat, guess what happens? Your fat goes down, your muscle goes up. What happens with the scale? It doesn't change all that much. It could be a point for discouragement, but if you have a body composition analysis and you can break it down and you see what's happening, then it becomes a process of encouragement because you're really reshaping the whole composition of your body. And if you can gain more muscle, you can actually help to strengthen your metabolism. Are you with me so far? All right, so tonight we're going to cover 3 keys. How many keys? 3 keys to correcting your metabolism. First of all, you have to have optimal nerve supply. Well, some of you guys may be thinking, oh, I got that. Right. Well, we're going to cover why. And then eliminate toxins, another key. And then balancing the hormones. When it comes to your metabolism, it's all about the hormones. Turn to your neighbor and say, hormones. Hormones. This is it. All right, so start with optimal nerve supply. You know, the power's in the panel. Your spine is like a circuit breaker. And if the wires are getting frayed or fried, we're going to have some problems. So here's one particular problem. You have your autonomic nervous system. Everyone say autonomic. Autonomic. Autonomic sounds like automatic. Yeah, that's the part of your nervous system which controls your heart rate without you thinking about it, your breathing, your digestion, your hormones, really everything without you consciously like moving things. So there's one part which we call the sympathetic. The sympathetic is the fight or flight. Remember this? So fight or flight is what raises everything. You know, if a tiger or an elephant is something stampeding, chasing you, you're fighting for your life, you need that blood pressure to go up, you need that heart to beat, you need that respiration to get some oxygen in and hightail it, right? Yeah. Problem is that your body reacts to that when you're under a lot of stress from day to day. Doesn't know the difference between a tiger chasing you or the boss keeping you late at work or overnight, right, Beatrice? Yeah, so, you know, we all have these things, these activities of daily living, which we call the grind. And it starts grinding on our nervous system and making it overactive. If that sympathetic nerve system is over-revved, overactive, what we wind up with is poor sleep. We have sometimes insomnia. Can't get to sleep, can't fall asleep, can't stay asleep. We become irritable, we become anxious. And then cortisol goes up, the hormones get all out of whack, and you start gaining weight because of an imbalance in your what? In your nervous system. So this is important. You can lose weight, you know, you can exercise till the cows come home, but if you don't get this right, you'll never get the results that you want happening permanently. And then you have the parasympathetic. What's the parasympathetic? Well, it's the opposite of the sympathetic. It slows things down. It slows down your heart rate. It slows down your breathing. It stimulates digestion. And so you see that vagus nerve there. You see all those blue nerves coming out as opposed to the yellow? That's controlled by the vagus nerve. And if the vagus nerve is being affected and it doesn't have the proper tone, or that parasympathetic part of the nervous system is underactive, you can see things like depression, hormonal issues, thyroid problems. Does any of that interfere with your weight? Yeah, chronic fatigue, adrenal failure. So this is at the core of the problem that you're trying to solve. Can everybody see that? So first and foremost, we look and make sure that we're getting this in balance. Now, I can give you a lot of things to do to help to bring that into balance, and we've talked about some of that, like, you know, walking, deep breathing, meditation, yoga, but chiropractic has an effect on this also. Going back to that vagus nerve, again, that helps to bring balance, or what does that word say that I just underlined? Homeostasis. What does homeostasis mean? It means balance. The body always has to be in balance. It's always trying to achieve a state of homeostasis. And in this case, the balance between those two parts of your autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So what can cause an imbalance in your autonomic nervous system? What can cause the sympathetic to be dominant? Right? What did we talk about? Stress. Nobody here has any stress, so we should just move on. We should just, right? So stress, what does it do? It drives the adrenal glands. When your adrenal glands are over-revved and overrun, you see this hormone go up called cortisol. When cortisol goes up, something else goes up with it called insulin. And when insulin goes up, that's the hormone that causes your body to store fat. Yeah. So you can see how this could really cause a problem. That's why and you've heard this before, when you're under a lot of stress, you see people tend to gain weight. And this is why, because gaining weight or losing weight or burning fat has all to do with the hormones. We already said that, right? And cortisol is like the maestro. It's like the conductor of the sympathy. Symphony. I gotta laugh at myself for that one. It's the conductor of the symphony. When it comes to cortisol and influencing insulin. So it also provokes inflammation, and then that's where weight gain and fatigue come in. It also disrupts your gut lining. How important is your gut lining? Right, the microbiome, yeah. And this can cause a whole host of other issues. So we see that stress is really disruptive to your autonomic nervous system and how the brain communicates with the gut to the brain, and then all the other hormonal systems involved as well. So this is your nervous system. This is Houston control. This is why I'm always checking this very carefully, because regardless of what your health goals are, if your nervous system is not right, nothing's right. So what else can cause autonomic imbalance? Altered vagal tone. Vagal tone is talking about the state of the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve, you saw, is what controls which part of the seesaw there, the red or the blue? The vagus nerve controls the blue part, the parasympathetic. Yeah. Okay, so if the vagus nerve is out of sorts, if it's affected, if the tone is off and not healthy, then what can happen is it can upset that balance. In particular, can I share something with you which can throw off your vagal tone faster than anything else? It's called subluxation, an atlas subluxation. Because that top bone, can everybody see the one that I circled? It sits right under the skull. And the vagus nerve comes from your brain, down out through the bottom of your skull, right in front of your atlas bone, that top bone in the neck. And here's the deal. You know you have discs in between every bone, right? Above and below. Guess where you don't have discs? Above and below the atlas. It's only held together by ligaments. So it's one of the most flexible and freely movable, so you could turn your neck, but it's also the most susceptible to misalignments. And there's not a whole heck of a lot of room where your brainstem descends out of the bottom of your skull, and that bone wraps around it. And then when it does shift out of alignment, it interferes with and it can affect the tone of the vagus nerve. Can everybody see those arrows there? Mm-hmm. And when it affects the vagus nerve, or the tone of it, it's like plucking the string on a guitar and somebody taking the key and turning it up. Right? You ever see somebody do that? Well, that's what happens to the vagus nerve. And where does that vagus nerve go? It goes down your stomach, your heart, your lungs, your liver, your spleen, and it can cause a disruption in imbalance, right? Which can not only cause weight gain, but it can cause rheumatoid arthritis. They're doing studies linking it to Alzheimer's disease. They're doing studies linking it to cancer. They're linking this to virtually every disease known to mankind. It affects different people differently. But this is what we call an atlas subluxation. Are you guys with me so far? Mm-hmm. And the reason why, when you're on your back, and I'm checking it from this side to this side, you say, what are you doing? Are you checking my temperature? Is my temperature normal? What's my temperature? Well, I'm not checking your body temperature. I'm checking for a differential from one side to the other. Bruce asked me today, how's it looking, Doc? I said, it's 0.4 degrees off on the right, which means there's an imbalance, which means I need to adjust Bruce's atlas on the right. And when I do that, we're bringing his vagus nerve and his atlas back into balance. Therefore, bringing the entire nervous system back into balance. So the symphony can be conducted properly. Is that making sense?
Yeah.
All right, did I pronounce that word properly?
Yeah.
Thank you, I got it right. So what can cause subluxation? Well, the birth process is something that you guys have long forgotten about. However, don't you have kids? Many of them are grown, and many of your kids already have, you already have grandchildren, right? Your kids have kids of their own. And I want to ask you a question. Do your kids know about your grandchildren being subluxated? Studies show that 90% of childbirths today in a hospital setting, there's damage to the cervical spine, particularly the atlas, from the birth process. Are your kids aware of that as parents? Because if they're not, and you have the knowledge and they don't, that makes you responsible. And if your grandchildren, and you can see them, they've got health problems and they've never had their atlas checked, I hate to tell you, if you know something and you don't say anything, I mean, don't you think you should? What good is all this knowledge if we don't apply it? You know, I mean, who's going to be taking care of us when we're older? You know, who's going to be adjusting your atlas when I'm not here? Who's going to be adjusting my atlas, I think about, you know? Like, who's going to be adjusting me? I have a chiropractor now, but your children, your grandchildren, they have to know about this stuff. Isn't this important, what we're talking about right now? Because, like I said, you can exercise, you can eat good, you can take supplements, but if you ever get to a point in life where you're not well and you can't get adjusted, God help us. God help us. That's what I think about. So this is what causes subluxation. Putting up your Christmas lights. Wouldn't you know, after Christmas, I'm checking everybody the next week. What do you think I'm finding?
They're all off.
Holy smokes. I mean, spines were a wreck. Everybody's. From putting up decorations, taking down decorations, not to mention the toxicity in their body from all the food and the festivities and the physical abuse, right? So all of this, we've all had fender benders, car accidents, poor sleeping habits, and stress. And then now what do we have? Looking on the phone, looking down all the time. So, you know, it's ubiquitous. It's, you know, everybody has subluxation at some level, and people need to be checked. You know, and so you guys know that. I think there's a small percentage of the entire American population who sees a chiropractor on a regular basis. Man, I think about what would our community be like if everybody was getting adjusted on a regular basis? You know, healthier kids, healthier marriages, healthier community. You know, the list and the ripple effect goes on and on. Aaron Rodgers, his father's a chiropractor. Not that it helped him any last night, but you know, every major team in football and baseball and even the Olympics, all of these athletes, they're all getting adjusted. Whether you see it on TV or not, if you look hard enough, you will find a chiropractor on every team these days. So isn't it good to know that you guys are getting the best? You're investing in the best for yourself. So subluxation, it's not only the atlas, so the research shows spinal lesions of the atlas and axis, C1 and C2, are associated with abnormal function of the pituitary, which is in the brain, which resulted in what? Abnormal hormone secretion. Still Research Institute. A.O. Still is the founder of osteopathy. Osteopathy is now, you know, a medical, it's a medical profession, basically. So they have their beginnings with this, knowing that problems are rooted in the spine. And so when you have also subluxations below atlas, there's textbooks that show, with few exceptions, hormone deficiency or hormone excess is a result of pathologic manifestations in neural pathways. So what if you don't have a subluxation going on in your atlas? Can you have subluxations below atlas? And the answer is yes. You have subluxation, you have altered or sedated nerve supply shutting down your thyroid. or your liver, or your adrenal glands, or your reproductive organs. Are all these parts of your body involved with fat burning and toxicity elimination? Of course. So we have to look at this just like a circuit breaker, and whether you feel problems or not, you always make sure that the power is on, right? So there's only two reasons why people see a chiropractor. One for performance and one for problems, right? And you guys know that. Once your problems are better, you still continue with maintenance care for performance. How many of you guys want to be the best you can be, right? Yeah, you want to be the best version of yourself. You know, can chiropractic stop you from aging? No, it could slow the aging process down maybe a little bit. We'll keep a good tab on your x-rays, but you know, in the end, you can only do what you can do. And if you follow the recipe, and this has preeminence, you will age very well. So, what you're learning now, it's great, but it's also kind of sad because everybody, we all know this and we appreciate it, but how many of you have friends and family members and loved ones and coworkers who you just like, you wish that, because they complain all the time and they tell you about their problems, and then you mention about chiropractic, and then they may say, somebody said this to me the other day, I don't believe in chiropractic. No, she said, I told my friend, and she said she doesn't believe in chiropractors. I'm like, well, I must be the tooth fairy flying around here. You know? like it's what does that mean? I don't believe it. It's like it's not a religion. It's this is science. You know, so you know, if I didn't believe in dentistry, it would be because I didn't have a good experience with a dentist. So I'd find another way. Dentist, you know, if I didn't believe in an EENT doc because I had a bad experience having my sinus surgery, what would I do? I'd find another EENT. Why don't people think about that with chiropractic? It's a strange thing. But there's a way to solve that problem. You enable them to hear the message. And it's, you know, coming from like one person to the next, no, it can't happen. But normally when they're exposed to the information, like through a video or a workshop, one way or the other, then they're like, oh, it makes sense. You just have to present it properly. And so I'm going to challenge you. Think about who you want to bring to the next workshop, or bring me to your organization. Sometimes we do lunch and learns, we do these events in the community, because I just love giving of my knowledge and my time. And I'll do this at places of work or worship, it doesn't matter. But think about that, and you let me know where the best places and the best way and the best way to reach these people. And I want to make that happen this year. That's one of my commitments. That's one of my goals. Are you with me? Yeah. Okay. So we talked about proper nerve supply, optimal nerve supply. The second thing is what? Eliminate toxins. Yeah. So what do toxins have to do with weight loss? Well, it's sugar, toxins, and bad fats. So sugar causes a hormonal response for fat storage. Why? Because we talked about that already. When you have a consumption of sugar, which hormone goes up? Insulin. And when insulin goes up, you're storing fat. So at the core of all this, you have to eliminate the sugars if you want to get your body into fat burning. It doesn't even, you know, we'll talk about white rice, pasta, potatoes, breads and stuff like that. You know you got to get rid of that. But if you just, you grab a handful of Doritos, let's say you have like 3 or 4 Doritos, or a handful of potato chips, you're like, no, it's not that much, it's just only 40 calories. Guess what happens? Your body doesn't know the difference. There's an insulin response and that's it, you blew it, you took your body out of fat burning. So these are little things that make a huge difference with your success when you approach this. Toxins attack the what? The thyroid, yeah. So your body uses fat to store toxins also. So if your body, I shouldn't say if your body is toxic, it just depends on how toxic your body is. That's also going to determine how much adipose your body makes. Because it's a survival mechanism. It sequesters, it protects your body from the toxins by storing those toxins in fat. So that's why we'll talk more about that next one. Then we have hydrogenated oils. And these bad fats drive inflammation. What do they drive? Inflammation and acidity. And the acidity inside of your body also causes inflammation and causes your body to store fat and to make more fat to protect it from the inflammation. So if you lose the toxins, what do you lose? You lose the fat. So just a couple of quick things. Avoid toxic diet foods. Just don't be fooled. I mean, we see these things, they're advertised, you see them on the shelves, and we see it as a shortcut, we see it as a crutch, we see it as something easy that we can just plug in and it tastes good. And you know what, if it's sweet, if it's artificial and it's sweet, your body has the same response as if it's real sugar or real toxins. Did you know that? Several studies have already proven that. So stay away from this. The Crystal Light, the Diet Coke, the Special K, the lean cuisine, all of these are loaded with chemicals and preservatives also, which will sabotage your fat loss program. Did you know that? Yeah. So, you know, you see on that side, you know, it's obviously the beer or alcohol is not a diet food. It's not, you know, it may or may not be toxic. You know, obviously alcohol is toxic if you have too much of it. But I will say this, alcohol treats different people differently. I mean, there are some people that I know can, you know, drink a beer or a glass of wine or two every day, and they can function normally, and there's seemingly no effects. But I know a lot of people, they have a half a glass of wine, they're off for the next week or two. And so, like, if you take somebody whose body, their liver can't process the alcohol properly, you know, it's different rules for different people. So, know thyself, okay? Don't kid thyself, know thyself. And the rule of thumb is that normally your body will treat alcohol as something that will enable it to store fat. And that's why it has to be limited when you're approaching it on a program like this, right? So, avoid the artificial sweeteners, and what else? The hydrogenated fats. What are the hydrogenated fats? The vegetable oils, hydrogenated oils, any of those oils. The one go-to, which is going to be safe for you on any weight loss program that we're going to talk about here tonight, that you're going to use, if you're going to use what I'm going to show you, is extra virgin olive oil. You know, try to stay, just to keep it simple. You know, you can use avocado oil, but I would stick, for fat burning purposes, is little better than extra virgin olive oil, honestly. So you want to add these good fats in. What do you see up there? Almonds, walnuts, avocados. These are loaded with fat, these foods. Coconuts, loaded with fat. And, you know, in the past we'd say, oh, we don't want to eat fatty foods because it'll cause us to get fat or gain weight. I used to see that. My dad would say that. You know, he'd have this thing of nuts while we're watching a movie and go, don't eat too many of those, you're going to get fat. And what I learned was, no, that's not true. Good fats don't make you fat, they help you what? They help you burn fat. Yeah. So look at these good fats. And then butter, also grass-fed butter, also fat burning. Kerrygold, yeah. Down there you'll see coffee and you see green tea. Now they're not good fats, but they are thermogenic. Everybody say the word thermogenic. Thermogenic. What is thermo? Heat. Genic means the process of creating a heat effect, and thermogenic means fat burning. Thermogenic means fat burning. So all the good fats you see up there, they're what? They're thermogenic. And the coffee and the green tea are also thermogenic, meaning they have a fat burning effect. You know that. Coffee will help keep your blood sugar level after you have a meal. It'll help with stabilizing your blood sugar, and it helps with keeping you in fat burning. As they say, use it, don't abuse it, because if you have too much coffee, what does it do to your adrenal glands? It'll fry them. Yeah, and then you'll have the opposite effect. But green tea is very healthy also. So you just got a little bit of caffeine is not harmful, but you know, too much of a little thing turns into a big thing, and then it becomes a problem. And of course, if you do have coffee, what kind of coffee do you want to have? Organic, black, you know, just organic is really something you want to shoot for. Okay, so regarding the hormonal effect, whether your body stores fat or burns it, I want you to look at this. So when you see this down here, that red line going up, that is the insulin response from these types of foods. So after you have, with your meal, pasta, if you're trying to lose weight, this is what you have to be concerned with. The bread, the pasta, the rice, the potato, any of these carbohydrates, they have a glycemic effect, which means that insulin is going to go up to meet the challenge of getting that sugar into your cells, right? And remember, when it provokes an insulin response, you've just created that hormonal response, which causes your body to store fat. And if you're trying to burn fat, then you want to try to avoid that, right? You want to try to control that insulin, all right? So, and you'd be surprised. You look at some of these, whole wheat bread, there are health benefits to grains. But the problem is that if you go into the grocery store and you look at the label, you'd be shocked. You see what, the wheat flour, the high fructose corn syrup, vegetable oil, and some of these, another good reason to avoid it. And then, of course, we'll see some of these cereals will confuse us also. We'll see like a box of Cheerios or Special K. And in our minds, we've been marketed to so much, like, it's got to be healthy. I just throw some almond milk in there and I got myself a good, healthy breakfast. Well, what's happening to your insulin with those grains going up? Yeah, it's going up. And then you're wondering why the scale's not going down. So potatoes too. So again, it's looking at it, making good decisions, which will control that hormonal response. So the normal hormonal response for fat burning, you see that green line down there? What is that? That's a stable insulin response. How do you create a stable insulin response that doesn't spike? You don't have the typical carbohydrates that is served with every meal, right? If you're going out to dinner or you go to any of these restaurants, what are you getting? If you're getting a sandwich, you're getting meat and what? Bread. You're going out for dinner, you're getting a bread basket, right? What are they serving with the fish? They're going to serve rice, or with your steak, they're going to give you a potato. So that's what the American cuisine is. Really, it transcends all cultures. You're going to get it unless you're looking to avoid it. And so what you see here is a different food pyramid, which will cause more stable blood sugar. Are you with me so far? Okay. So what do you see at the base of that food pyramid? Vegetables. You see proteins and vegetables. You see a little bit of good fat in there, and then as you go up, you see, you got your dairy, your cheese, you have your low sugar fruits, you have your vegetables, you have your good fats, cacao, the chocolate, and don't think you can, cheat with every chocolate. It's the cacao. It's like the bittersweet. It's like 95% sugar free. Somebody's getting excited. I see that levitating off of your seat. Chocolate. All right. So you get the point. But for the base of your day, you really want to try to just shoot for proteins and vegetables and good fats. And by having the good fats, you won't miss the carbs because you will not be hungry if you have the good fats. And that's what, seemingly is missed for a lot of people. So here are some examples. I've shared this before. What's a safe breakfast which will not crank up your blood sugar and your insulin levels. Low sugar fruits. The berries. Aren't the berries the lowest? And, the blackberries, strawberries, raspberries. So if you have like a handful of berries and some almond butter, organic almond butter, and maybe a shake with some protein, you have a good breakfast. It's not going to spike your blood sugar, and that's why I'll have something like that in the morning. Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt has little to no sugar in it at all. Super high in protein. Greek yogurt. So you're not going to have any of those. You're not going to have the fruit at the bottom that you have to stir up. That stuff is loaded with sugar and bad stuff. You don't want that. If you go over to Publix, they have a whole section with all kinds of yogurts, and you want to get the plain yogurt, Greek yogurt, high protein, low sugar. Got it? Okay, so that's the good stuff. Now, if you cut up some berries in there, you are good to go. You got a healthy, good, low sugar breakfast right there. And here's another breakfast. I'll usually have this on Sundays if I don't work out too hard and I don't need the carbohydrates. What I will have is I'll have scrambled eggs with avocado, half an avocado, which has what? Good fat, yep. And then I will slice up some aged cheese in there also. So what do I have? I have protein and good fats. Protein and good fats. And I'll go to church, I'll do my Sunday school lesson, and I'll be good for like a good 3 hours. I won't feel any need, I won't feel any hunger at all, just on that alone. 4 eggs, 3 or 4 eggs should do the trick for you. Scramble them and you're good. So then we see for lunch, safe options, or what? Salads, yeah. You know, if you didn't have a salad and you wanted to have a piece of chicken or a burger, just leave out the bread, right? You can eat the burger with the onions and the tomatoes. You can have avocado on it also. Just leave out the bread. But you know, salads are good because you know they give you variety, they give you nutrition, they give you a balance of different foods. But most importantly, what do you have to have? Those good fats. So if you do have a salad, a good way to spoil it is to put what on it? Yeah, honey mustard, ranch, you know, all these, you rip it open from a packet, so it's going to be full of the junk, the chemicals, and the bad fats, right? So again, you know, when I was training for the Disney Marathon, I had a coach, and he was great because it was all about fat burning with him. And he told me, I'll never forget this on the phone. He told me, so he's like, "You're going out for dinner?" He said, you said you're going out for dinner. I said, "Yeah, we're going to celebrate something, blah, blah, blah." Okay, so make sure you take with you a small vat of olive oil. I'm like, "A vat? That sounds pretty big." He's like, "No, you can get these little containers, fill it with olive oil, and just carry it into the restaurant with you, you know, or have your wife carry it." And that kept me out of trouble. It kept me on the regimen. And otherwise, you know, you're left at the mercy of whoever's cooking there. You just don't know, right? Exactly. And then when you look at the dinner options, what do you see there? Proteins. How's that looking? You like that one?
Yeah.
The rack of lamb? Yeah. I'm a lamb man. Grass-fed. Yes. So you got your lamb, you got your broccolini,
yeah.
You got your chicken, and either asparagus or green beans. You got your cheese in there, gorgonzola cheese, and then you have a stir fry without the what? Without the rice. Now, they do make cauliflower rice, and they have some of these other alternatives, which again, if it's a vegetable, you're not going to have that insulin spike. So you can get creative with this also. But what's the biggest point that I'm trying to make here? Bread, pasta, rice, potatoes. No. If you're serious. I mean, listen, the vegetables and the fruits, the low sugar vegetables and fruits, they are carbohydrates. But it's not going to cause the same type of insulin response as the other no-nos. So you guys got that. So what I recommended for breakfast, you can also have for lunch. I actually had a shake before I came in for this afternoon. And this is what it is. You know, a couple of scoops, you put it in either water or coconut milk or almond milk, and what you're getting is high protein. And guess what all the studies are showing now you need for weight loss? Lots of protein, yeah. So the other thing that this has is a full multi-spectrum vitamin. It's got pretty much every vitamin that you would need with the exception of vitamin D. You know, it's low sugar. It's got, even though it's got 15 grams of sugar, it's got 6 actual sugars in it. So it's very, very low sugar. And it's got a detox support in it as well. And that's what helps to keep your blood sugar stable. So if you have that for breakfast, if you're searching and you can't find anything, you at least have that to get you off to a good start. Because if you start your day off in fat burning, chances are it's going to stay like that. Yeah. So this is the label on the back. There's more things than you could throw a stick at. But one of the couple of things that I wanted to highlight for the purposes of how it fits into fat burning is what's also in this when you have 2 scoops is turmeric. What is turmeric? It's a natural anti-inflammatory. And it has 200 milligrams of that in that. And also N-acetylcysteine, which is the precursor for helping your body make glutathione. Everybody say glutathione. Glutathione. What is glutathione? It's the master antioxidant, which has to do with what? Detoxification, a low-level detox, which supports losing fat and losing weight. Then you have green tea here also. So there's green tea in there. How about that? So a lot of the constituents, which is supportive for a fat loss program, are in here in addition to everything else. There's joint support. You know, I could spend a lot of time going through this, but this is what we call the breakfast of champions. It is loaded. So tonight, you know, when you come to the workshops, many of you guys already know that at the workshops we give a 15% discount. Looks like somebody might have already. If you're here long enough, you know you hit the counter before we start the workshop because there may not be anything left after. But before you guys leave tonight, if you need anything, remember the supplements are 15% off tonight only. Okay, so last part of this is what? Balancing the hormones. Okay, so there's 2 things I'm going to go into with you on this. One is what? Exercise. But I want to talk to you about something specific. It's called NEAT. What is NEAT? Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That means burning fat when you're not exercising. How do you do that? Watch. So non-exercise activity thermogenesis is how your body expends energy during the day. It's a certain percentage, and you can influence that. Non-exercise thermogenesis is the calories that you burn outside of formal exercise, right? When you're not briskly walking, when you're not playing pickleball, when you're not lifting weights, when you're not changing sprinkler systems, okay? It's walking around during the day. This is non-exercise thermogenesis, just walking. What I'm doing right now, standing instead of sitting, fidgeting, doing chores, yard work, pacing while on the phone. All these things, when you're not engaged in exercise, your body is still burning fat. And some people, it does it more than others. So just general daily movement. It's everything except sleeping. It's not eating. Eating actually creates its own thermogenesis. And obviously workouts have its own thermogenesis. So if you break it down, this is what it is. Out of all of the energy that your body expends during the day, 70% of it is just your resting metabolic rate. 5% of it is the energy that your body uses to digest meals. About 15% of it is the non-exercise thermogenic activity. And exercise is 10%. Wow! Look at that. You actually can burn more fat not exercising than exercising. Is that what you're seeing there? Yeah. So the question that I would be thinking is there anything I can do to influence that? To max out the percentage of my body burning fat when I'm not exercising? That would be a good question if we could answer that. Would you agree? Yeah. All right. So what can we do? First of all, the best time to exercise to burn fat is when? Morning. First thing in the morning on an empty stomach. A lot of people think you have to eat just to get energy to exercise. Not the case. Your body's got glycogen, your liver's fueled up. It's got that from the day before. When I wake up in the morning, even if I'm going to lift heavy weights, I never eat before I exercise. Ever, never, ever. So raises growth hormone and testosterone, which is conducive for building what? Muscle, yeah. And guess what? The more muscle you have, the stronger your metabolism is. Does that have anything to do with fat loss? Yep. Insulin is the lowest, which causes fat burning, stimulates your metabolism, and best compliance. Which means, if you get it out of the way first thing in the morning, you don't have to worry about it the hours of the day robbing you of that, right? So, that's it. If you think that you might be able to do it later, but everything else gets in the way, then you find out real soon. Best time to do it is in the morning. Okay, so here's a good plan for you. If you want to increase NEAT, what I'm teaching you right now, I studied in depth for myself for the new program that I am on. And now this is something that I am doing more of. Okay, so walking, how long? 30 to 40 minutes every day. I say just go for a brisk walk, go out 10, 15 minutes. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. It may bring you a sense of peace. It'll just help you just get some movement. If you're a beginner, if you're a novice, it's a good place to start. But if you want to create a full-time fat-burning machine out of your body center, what do you want to do? How often? 30 to 40 minutes. Why did I call you? You woke up. That was good. I just woke myself up. All right. 30 to 40 minutes daily. 30 to 40 minutes daily.
Now, when you're saying 30 to 40, you're talking about one shot or throughout the day?
Yeah, no, just one shot.
Okay.
Yeah, one shot. If you can do that, one shot. And then the rest of the time during the day, remember, if you're standing, if you're walking, if you're not exercising. So the key is with this 30 to 40 minute walk, to do it briskly enough to where you can still actually have a conversation with somebody. Right? So you want to get your heart rate up to about 60% of your maximum heart rate. Does anybody know what their maximum heart rate is? If you want to write it down right now, I'll give it to you. It's 220 minus your age. 220 minus your age. Okay, so you subtract your age from 220, and that would be, for all intents and purposes, your maximum heart rate. And then multiply that by 0.60, which would be 60% of your maximum heart rate, and you would come up with what number? David, what do you have a calculator? What do you come up with?
I did that.
Okay, so I'll just use mine for example. My 60% of my maximum heart rate is 100 beats per minute or so, give or take. So I have a watch, so I have a Garmin watch, so I'm looking at my heart rate while I'm walking, and I will walk up to the pace to where I am just about at 100 beats per minute, and I'll push myself till I get to that point. And I maintain that for at least 20 minutes after my workout. So if I lift weights for an hour and I go do 20 minutes, that helps me improve my NEAT percentage of energy expenditure the rest of the day. If you are not lifting weights, and this is your only form of exercise, that's why I said 30 to 40 minutes daily. Are you with me? Okay, now, if you're going to do resistance training, which I do recommend, why do I recommend resistance training? For purposes, for what?
Build muscle.
Build muscle. If you build muscle, you're going to build a stronger metabolism, and your body will more easily burn fat. Number one. Number two, what is the most important thing that they're seeing now as you get older to prevent falls and fractures and surgeries is what? Muscle. Yeah. What else are they finding when you lift weights? It helps with what? Cognition. Yeah, preventing dementia, preventing Alzheimer's. That's right, resistance training. Something that brisk walking cannot do for you. Is it helpful? Of course it is, in many different ways. But there is no substitute for resistance training. So if it's not something that you've employed yet with your routine, I would strongly recommend that you do that because it crosses the gap with all aspects of preventative healthcare. Is this making sense? Okay, so resistance training, at least twice a week. You can do it on machines, you can use heavy hands, you can use bands, it doesn't matter. On the days that you do resistance training, you could walk a little shorter, but try to do something every day. If you're serious about burning fat, try to do a little something every day. And what's going to happen is you're going to see your waist go down, you're going to see your clothes fit better, you're going to see your blood sugar stabilize, and probably also you're going to notice less dependence on medications. For those of you who are taking blood sugar medication or maybe blood pressure medication, your doctors are going to see the difference, and they'll probably dial back your dosages. And sometimes you can get off them completely if you're vigilant about this. All right, so I want to play this here. Actually, you know what? You need to stand up. You need to get some blood going. You guys are nodding off. It's me, I'm sorry. All right, turn and put your hands on your neighbor to the right, on their shoulder. Yeah, squeeze, squeeze. Tell your neighbor to wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. All right, karate chop. Very nice, very nice. Good job. All right, turn around and love your other neighbor. All right, tell your neighbor to wake up. Wake up. All right, karate chop. All right, good job. Excellent. Give yourself a round of applause. All right, let me play this video here so that you can see the importance of where BMI plays into this. Appreciate your liver. You can't live without it, right? So your BMI has a lot to do with this, and I want you to understand what your BMI is. It's the height-weight ratio that the World Health Organization put together so that you know how far or how close you are to the danger zone. Very specifically with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease leading to cirrhosis of the liver, it creeps up on you because, again, you can't feel it, you don't know it. My mother was diagnosed with cancer, and it was liver cancer, and she had basically cirrhosis of the liver. And it was a long-term process that she wasn't aware of. And you know, when they got scans and tests on that, her liver was shot, and it was terrible. The sad thing is that this is reversible. But when it comes to this fatty liver disease and cancer, there's 100% correlation with this. Compared with a normal healthy weight and BMI, if your BMI is over 30, 80% greater risk for kidney, liver, and stomach cancer. Not to mention brain tumors, 50% increase, pancreatic cancer. I'm not sure if you're aware of the correlation with this, but being overweight and really inching toward obesity, it increases your risk significantly and exponentially. If your BMI is over 40, womb, esophageal cancer goes 380 to 610%. Breast, ovarian cancer, all of this is correlated with it. Mm-hmm. So the BMI becomes a super important number. And if you don't know what your BMI is, you need a body composition analysis to actually see that. That's one of the things that we measure. Like if you look on our body composition analysis, it's the first thing that we look at. Your BMI should be, a normal BMI is somewhere between 18 and 25, 25 and a half, 25.9. When you go over 30, that's the danger zone. It's almost a given that individual, at some point, if they already haven't developed fatty liver disease, diabetes, heart disease, cancer. Now they're showing Alzheimer's disease. So that getting near or over that 30 number is a big deal for an individual's health and their future. And so that's why we look at that and we take that so seriously. So we look at the BMI, and then also we look at the body fat. You all came here because you want to lose weight, right? Do you know how much weight you want to lose? Do you have like a number in your head? How much weight would you like to lose? You haven't thought about how much fat you would like to lose, right? If I asked you how much fat do you want to lose, never thought about that. Right? Never thought about that. But that's what this is, right? That's what this is. Have you ever felt that before?
No, that is
How much do you think that weighs?
no.
What do you think? 10 pounds? 15 pounds? Anybody? Has anybody never felt this before? Raise your hand if you've never felt this. You want to feel it? Wow. How much do you think that weighs? 15 pounds? This is 5 pounds. It's 5 pounds. It's strange. It's dense. It's awkward. And, you know, the average person really is lugging around like 60, 80, 100 pounds of this. Like if your body weight's 200 pounds and you have, you know, like your percentage of fat is 50%, you're lugging around 100 pounds of this. And if you go on a diet and you lose 15 pounds and you don't lose this, what are you losing? Muscle and water. And so this is the most important thing because this is a hormonal system. This adipose tissue generates pro-inflammatory cytokines. Cytokines drive inflammation, and inflammation is what drives degenerative disease. It drives cancer, it drives diabetes, it drives heart disease. That's why the BMI is so important. Does that make sense? Because the more of this that you have, the faster you're moving toward that diagnosis and the treatment for those diseases. And today, the number one cause of death isn't cancer or heart disease, it's the treatment for the disease. The treatments kill you faster than the disease, but this is what brings it all to center stage. So isn't this more important than just losing weight? Of course. But how do you know how much of this that you actually have? You don't unless you have a body composition analysis to reveal that. So here in this person, their body fat percentage was 52.5%. So they weighed 227 and their body fat mass was 119 pounds. More than 50% of what they're walking around with was this. Is that serious? Yeah, and now again, it wouldn't have even dawned on that person like that this needed to be considered. It was just like, yeah, I know I need to lose weight. I don't feel good. I'm tired all the time, and I need knee surgery, and the doctor won't operate on me until I lose weight. The least of their problems, considering how much of that was going on. And then the other thing that has to be considered is body water. Because what pushes this out, also which goes with it, which is inverse to this. The only way to make this go down is to increase hydration. Textbooks say normal hydration should be somewhere between 50 and 60%. Most people who come in when we do their body composition, their water shows between 35 and 45%. And the problem is you're dehydrated. And most people do this, carrying around their bottle all day. No, there's no way, that can't be, I'm drinking water all day. Well, it's not for a lack of water, it's a mineral imbalance or a mineral deficiency. A lack of trace minerals because the soil is so depleted, not getting the nutrients. And so you can drink water till the cows come home, but it's just passing right through. And the cells are pruned up like raisins instead of plump like grapes. If it was properly hydrated, when the hydration goes up, the fat goes down. So they're inversely proportional. And that's really important also if you're targeting fat loss. And then we have the visceral fat. Does everybody know what the visceral fat is? That's how much of this you have around your liver, your heart, your gallbladder, suffocating, strangulating it. And if that's over 11 or 12, that's the danger zone. I've never had a person come in that was in the red that wasn't a liver patient or didn't have fatty liver disease already. And so even if it hasn't been diagnosed, it's just a matter of going to a doctor and actually doing a test for it. But you want to know where that is. That number, that visceral fat should be 7 or 8. But it's very revealing when you have this, because it shows you all of the dials on your dashboard, not just losing weight. And then you have your metabolic age. What's the metabolic age? It shows you how slow or how fast your metabolism is. So if you're 50 years old and your metabolic age is 90, what does that tell you? You're done. You're in trouble. It's super slow. So you could do a diet, you could lose weight, but the more you do that, the slower your metabolism goes. And then when you start eating again after you're done dieting, it's slower and it's weaker and worse than before you started. So that all has to get fixed. So here's a before and after comparison of somebody that we helped on a 40-day fat loss program. So if you look at the dates, you'll see just about 40 days there. The starting weight 227, the ending weight there was 211. So how much weight did they lose? Almost 16 pounds, 15.8 pounds. But again, we said that's not as important as losing the what? Fat, right. So if we're helping you through this and you lose 15 pounds, then the question really is, okay, well, how much fat did I lose? And so you can see that the body fat mass was 119 when they started. It went down to what? 106. So out of the 15.8 pounds that was lost, 13 pounds of that was pure fat. And that's what makes what I'm talking about different. That makes all the difference in the world. That's where you're starting to get your health back. The BMI you can see coming down 3 points. Still has a long way to go, but off to a good start. The body fat coming down. What did we say has to go up if the body fat's going down?
Water.
The water, yeah. She went from 34 up to 35 and a half. And then the visceral fat went down from 20 into the 18s. So this person is well on their way to better health. Not just looking better and feeling better, but that's before on the left, and that's after. That's Sybil. And she still, if you saw her today, she looks the same. She's maintained it. She's kept it off. Her metabolism's been corrected. Her blood pressure improved. Her blood sugar improved. She finally had her knee surgery, and her neuropathy improved. So this is how you do it. It's very specific. You eliminate the guesswork. Some people just need a plan. Just like you've tried these things before. It's not your fault if you haven't had success. It's just what most people do because they don't know. But if you have a plan and you follow it, then you get the results. It eliminates the guesswork. You have a clear roadmap to get you to the mountaintop. The plan that we have has a specific food plan for fat burning, and there are supplements which actually support the fat burning process. There's a manual which shows you what to do, what not to do. In this particular program, I talked to you guys about good healthy fats and whatnot. There's some intricacies, bless you. There's some intricacies with this that you do not want to do. Okay, so there are differences with this to accelerate the fat loss in this, and it goes with the manual and the journal. Follow-up plans. Every 2 weeks you come in and we do another body composition analysis so we can plot the graph and watch the fat go down and the water go up and maintain the muscle mass so that you can balance your hormones and fix your metabolism. And then of course, we're supervising it and we give you a guarantee. If you follow everything that we show you to do to a T, you don't change the recipe, you don't cheat, you do it exactly how we show you. If you don't lose at least 15 pounds in the 40 days, we'll put you through a second program at our expense. We've put well over 2,000 people through this program in the last 10 years that we've been doing this. And there's a recipe for success. Yes, ma'am?
Can I say something?
Sure.
I went through it.
You did.
It's hard. But what I found was it reset my metabolism. So even I if I ate something I didn't put on me, didn't affect me.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So,
Hi, my name's Larry. I've been on a program for a few days short of 2 months. My 40-day weight loss period, I lost 33 pounds, and my numbers across the board are great. I was taking one medication for blood pressure. I'm not taking that anymore. My metabolic age when I started here was 63, which wasn't bad because I'm 62. But after 40 days, it was 37, if you can believe that. My body mass index is healthy. Everything is great across the board.
so it's, what happens is you go through this and you reset the metabolism, you reduce inflammation, the cells go through a healing transformation, and that's why what a lot of people find is other health problems get resolved. Migraines, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, you see 90% remission without diabetes, 83% gout, depression, sleep apnea, asthma, breathing improved, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, degenerative joint disease. So it's not just about the weight loss, it's about your overall health, and I'm sure you guys have got that point up to here.
Go. Yes. I'm Tom Brady. I've been, today's the 16th of April. I've been on the program my 43rd day now. I lost a total of 25 pounds, and I've cut my insulin down to under a third of what I was taking.
Awesome.
So I'm going in the right direction. The program works.
So thank you.
And I have lost 24 pounds. The thing I love most about this program is, for me, my energy level was way down. With this program, I'm more agile, flexible. I can play with my son. I'm not tired, so I would recommend this program to anyone. Maybe you might be skeptical, but it does work. Look at me.
Good job.
So I found this on MSNBC. Maybe you guys are familiar with some of these. Jenny Craig, Nutrisystem, Weight Watchers. You've all heard of these. So what's interesting, what I found was that the cons, none of them highlight any sort of fat burning in any of the programs at all. There's no fat burning, no fat burning, no fat burning. And so if you go through months and months of being on these programs and losing all the weight, if you're not burning fat, if you're not losing fat, what are you losing?
Muscle.
Yeah.
Water.
And so nobody talks about this. This is what's flying under the radar. And look at the price, $3,000, $1,800, $1,800, $4,500, which may or may not be a lot of money, but I think it is if it leaves your metabolism in worse shape than if you did nothing at all. Wouldn't you agree? So I'm just showing you some of the intricacies, but with the program, like Allison was talking about, she's done it. I don't know if some of you guys have done it or not. I did it years ago, and I'm still at the same weight. But I know that it works. I love seeing people go through it because there's so many changes on so many different levels with the health, not just with losing the fat, but also how you feel, your energy level, and you're really investing in a process which is permanent from the standpoint of helping you control your weight for the rest of your life. You get a toolbox basically that helps you not just for the 40 days, but what happens is you go on a cruise. Let's say you put on 5 or 10 pounds, you come back, you go out of the country, you're away for a while, and you put on some weight. Guess what? You already know what to do, right? You still have the manual, you still know what to do, what not to do, and you get it right back. And you never let it get out of control, because now you've given yourself an education, a process, a gift that will last you for a lifetime. And I've heard so many people say that over and over again. Anyway.
Dr. Hanson,
Yes.
I did that weight loss, that fat loss. I did it before.
Yeah.
I lost 20 pounds, and of course I lost the pain in my knees. They wanted me to do surgery because my knees used to hurt so bad.
Yeah.
I lost all of that. My BMI went down, and I'm consistent with that weight. At the end of the program, I was 162 pounds, and I kept that weight until now. And
when did you finish the program?
I
How long
finished
ago?
the program last December, I think it was.
Last December. A year ago. A year ago. That's pretty good. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Very cool. Yeah, it is impressive. I've noticed. I've watched, and I've told you that. Yep. It's like you guys are dating again. They're like newlyweds. Their glow is there. That's wonderful. Now, when we first, normally when we first, started doing this, it was $14.95. I remember it was even more than that, and we were with a franchise, and so, we've changed some things to make it more affordable. But there's a special, we can do a promotional offer every once in a while. So it's a night that's available for 5. We can do it for the first 5 people. It's only $6.95, and that includes everything to take you through the whole program over the 40 days. It's a 4-phase program. There's 4 BCAs, the weigh-in, the food plan, all the supplements, the mineral formula, and everything that you need to get you to where you want to be. But if you would like to take advantage of that, secure one of your spots before you leave. Talk to Deborah tomorrow, and they will book your appointment for your initial consultation, your weigh-in. If you've never had a body composition analysis done and you would like to, you can make an appointment for that, or you're interested in the program that we do, but you're just not sure. You want to do the weigh-in, $37. And then if you decide to do the program, or if you're a candidate and it's a green light for you, then we'll apply that to the program. Other than that, if there's supplements up there that you guys need, get them tonight while supplies last at the discounted rate. And good. Nobody else fell asleep. That's a good way to end. Well, thank you so much for being here tonight, guys. Love and appreciate you. God bless. Okay.